two folks that are here as very special guests. I'm very honored, also a part of that process, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want you to get to meet them. You know, we have, you know, Judge Barbara Hartle,
yes,
the presiding judge of Municipal Court, City of Houston. Congratulations on your position there. And we'll discuss more about your background and, you know, what Municipal Court is doing and what we can share with the people to make sure that what, you know, works for them and what works for y'all. Okay.
Good.
Thank you again for being on the show, Judge.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And Judge Russ Ridgeway, you're the presiding judge for Harris County Justice of the Peace. Congratulations also on your selection, and thank you for being here on the show.
Thank you for inviting us as well.
Well, thank you. Well, let's start off just with a little background about yourself. Judge Russ Ridgeway, how long you been a judge, or are you from Houston? Where are you from?
Well, I've been in Houston almost 38 years. I've spent about 30 years in the oil and gas industry, and then I've spent the last 450,000 cases ago, a little over 7 years ago, as a Justice of the Peace here in Harris County.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
And for those of you at home, ladies and gentlemen, a Justice of the Peace, most of the time known as the, you know, the People's Court, you know, the People's Judge, where, like in the City of Houston Municipal Court, they handle all Class C ordinances. The Justice of the Peace also handles similar cases that are on that same level, where, you know, there's a judicial process, and we'll talk to them about it to explain. Like if you get a traffic ticket, or in the JPs, sometimes if you get a ticket from a DPS trooper, sometimes they file their cases there. Even some sheriff department deputies file their cases in the JP court, and most definitely deputy constables file their cases there. But we'll talk more about their role and their responsibility. But what I'd like for you to do at home, write down information that you're going to hear that may be unique. You know, how does someone reset a ticket? What are your rights at home, you know, in case you don't have an attorney? The one thing you don't want to do is let it turn into a warrant. That's the one thing you don't want to do, folks. It's not only bad for you, but it's bad for all of us. We don't need that. Not for a Class C, not for a minor infraction like we're talking about here. You know, so let's talk to Judge Barbara Hartle and tell us a little bit more about, you know, the process. I understand there's new procedures that people can use. Like, for example, if they want to reset a traffic ticket, how does someone do that?
Well, they can write to us, and we can look at their request in writing. We're trying to do more innovative things with technology. We have a IVR system that's set up through a one-call solution center, and that can be accessed through dialing 311. And the person's able to get information about their citation, about their court dates, and the different options that they would have available to them in response to their tickets.
One of the biggest complaints I hear, though, sometimes from people is that when they call 311, it's a voice recorder, and they don't get a response. Besides 311, is there like other numbers they can call to municipal court, or we'll get some numbers later on that we can get that they can call, or maybe on the internet? You got a website? Well,
we do have a website. They can go to the City of Houston website and click into municipal court. That'll give them a lot of information about options they have available, how to ask for defensive driving. They can ask for defensive driving or deferred disposition based on their offense and what kind of license they have. They can do that by mail and not even have to come in.
And those of you at home, let's talk more about it in just a second. I'll come back, you know, to Judge Hartwell as far as the deferred disposition and defensive driving, what that means to you and how you can apply for that and do you qualify for it. Judge Ridgeway, also on the Justice of the Peace, is there similar opportunities for people when it comes to some of those traffic infractions?
Very, very similar. We've certainly made great use of the internet. Our website, you can Google, Yahoo, or whatever, type in the words Harris County Justice Courts, and it'll bring up our website. And then since we're split out into 16 different courts here across Harris County, you can click on any one of the judges' names, and it'll bring up our particular court's website, and it'll give you instructions on how to do things like if you want to take a driver safety course for some Class C moving violation, you can do that online. and you can pay for it online, get all of your paperwork, mail it into the court, and never have to come to the courthouse.
And that would really ease also a lot of traffic congestions that we have in the courts, or even not just traffic itself, but even people itself. I mean, there's a lot of folks. I've seen the municipal courts. I've seen your courts out there that are packed. I mean, sometimes standing room only. You'll see the line out there. So maybe some of the ideas that we can give you at home to write down, to make note of it, talk about it, either Google it, get on the website, become more informed so that if you don't have to go to court, there's a way you can deal with it through the computer or by communicating on the phone. If you have questions at home or comments and you want to call the show, you can go ahead and call us. I think they're putting the phone on your screen. It's 713-807-1794. And maybe you have some questions or comments. But getting back to the municipal court and the JP courts, the Justice of the Peace Court also handle other matters like civil matters.
Right.
So it's not just criminal cases, but civil matters. I think that's a big distinction. Mm-hmm. And for those of you at home, the distinction between the Justice of the Peace and the municipal court. Tell us about some of the civil process, Judge.
Okay. The justice courts handle 3 different types of civil matters, and these are things like evictions. Some people used to know them as forcible entry and detainers, and our courts here in Harris County are very, very busy on that particular matter. We're also a small claims court, which you may know as a people's court. The difference between us and Judge Judy and Texas Justice and some of the others are that we definitely have to follow the laws of the state of Texas, whereas some of the other TV shows don't have a little more latitude in terms of what law they choose to follow. We also have what we call justice court, very similar to other civil courts here, the county courts at law, state district courts. The difference in our cases is there is a jurisdictional limit. That means the most that you can file for is up to an amount in dispute not to exceed $10,000.
In talking about, let's say, the statute of limitations on a civil matter, is almost what, sometimes up to 2, is it 2 years, or is there?
It depends on the type of case. Some contract matters where there's a contract dispute, it can be up to 4 years. If it's a tort case, like an accident case and a car accident, you're trying to claim damages, you have to request or make your filing for that within 2 years of the date of the incident.
And I think for those of you at home also, another question I get sometimes is, somebody owes you money and they haven't paid you, but yet you don't have anything in writing. It was a verbal contract or a verbal agreement. You still have the right to go to court, but just being upfront with you, you have to convince that judge or the jury that this really took place. It depends on what the other person says. And I'm not giving you legal advice, it's just common sense information. Because I know some people get upset and says, well, y'all don't want us to take matters in our own hand. No, we don't. You're not supposed to take matters in your own hand. But you have to think, if you're going to lend people money, you get into the agreement, sign something, some document that this transaction took place, ladies and gentlemen. When you sell cars to each other, when you buy property, I've heard people buying property and they don't even know that that property has a clear title. You're just paying someone that you don't even know that they're the real owners. You got to do some homework. And again, just talking to your friends, helping each other out, this information can be very simple but very important. Get into the municipal courts.
Yes.
Municipal courts have been around for a long time. I remember as a teenager, I loved to go down there and fight my tickets. I don't know why I got tickets, because I was never wrong.
I'm sure.
No. But I realized also there's other opportunities when you go there, because I remember the judges would say, you want to plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest.